Here and see. Okay, I put my screen here up and going. Welcome to the call tonight. My name is William Winterton, and tonight we're going to be talking about the Feel Great system. So, first of all, this is first and foremost a coaching call. And if everybody can hear me, okay, can you just give me a thumbs up in your windows? Make sure you're all good. Awesome. Okay, cool. This is a coaching call. This is all here to help you understand the Feel Great system. So for many of you, you have heard about the Feel Great system. Some of you are on the Feel Great system right now. We do not have capability for translation for this tonight. I'm sorry, pal. Rab turned this over to Lindsay, Yvette, and me, and it was very, very quick, and we did not have time to set up translation unless Lindsay is a rock star, a wizard, and she could figure it out. But I don't think we have it. But the product right here is changing lives across the world, and quite literally across the world. And so we're going to be talking about the science behind it. With us tonight, we have two amazing people. I'm going to get to them in a second here, who are just helping thousands and thousands of people, very, very intelligent, very smart in the world of metabolic health. But before we get into that, many of you may not know who I am. My name is William Winterton. I have been on the Feel Great system now for 1 year. And when I started this off, I did not have any idea what it was or what it did. I literally was scrolling through TikTok, found somebody talking about fiber and fasting, and I saw that as an opportunity to try and do something different to lose weight. That's all I was interested in. Little did I know there were so many other benefits to it, things that I didn't realize were wrong with me. Not just the weight loss, but sluggishness. A lot of the things about like craving food all the time. A lot of things about like, oh my gosh, constantly being tired, constantly being hungry.
Oop. Sorry, William, hold on. That's my bad, everybody. I'm learning how to do this. Let me unmute him. My bad.
That's okay. Lindsay, would it be easier for me to take over the reins? Are you cool? You good?
I think we're good. That way I can keep admitting people.
Sweet. Okay, so anyway, I am not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. That's why I have Yvette and Lindsay here, because they are amazing. And I am just an average guy who used this and have gotten great results like many of you. In fact, somebody on the call tonight, I wanted to bring in Lindsay. Tillman, can you just raise your hand so Lindsay can find you?
He's with Yvette.
Where is he? He's over there in Yvette. Oh, well, that's pretty straightforward. That's about as easy as it gets. So Tillman right now is going to be sharing what this has done for him. And there are no shortage of people I could be bringing on to share results and their experiences on the product. But Tillman has been gracious enough to share. So it's all yours. Stage is set.
Well, thank you, William. So I'll just start from the beginning. Give you my backstory. So 50 years old, and my whole life I've played sports, I've exercised, I've tried to eat right. But even since I was a teenager, I've had high cholesterol, bad cholesterol, high blood pressure. I was on meds in my late 20s for both. I quit just because of the side effects. But still, it was a constant trying to get off the meds or trying to get better my whole life. So when Yvette started the Feel Great system, I was watching her, what she was doing, helping other people. And I was like, okay, I got to try this. And the reason I've got to try this was right before I turned 50, I got my blood work done last year. Lo and behold, same old story, except this time was a little different. This time when I went in there, and again, why I went was I was about to turn 50, and I was really feeling sluggish, and I was starting to gain some weight. And yeah, he told me, yep, you got high blood pressure, bad cholesterol, and by the way, you've got low testosterone. And I was like, that explained the weight gain and the tiredness all the time. So I'm not going to do meds as long as I can. So again, that got started on the Feel Great system, fixing all these people, and I was like, I'll try it. So I tried it. And in the first 3 weeks, what I noticed was I lost 2 inches in my waist. And that was just by doing the Feel Great system and following the protocol that comes with the box. So I was like, okay, let's keep doing this. So I did it for about 4 months, and finally I said, all right, so now let's go see the vampire, get some blood work done. Went, got the blood work done. Blood pressure is now down. Cholesterol, my bad cholesterol went from 35 HDL to 85 HDL. Triglycerides came down. So, and I'm sure Lindsay can talk better about the ratio. So my ratio is now good. And the one thing that surprised me was my testosterone. I was just under 400 and I went to 650. My energy, I know my energy levels were going up, but I was really surprised on my testosterone. So I was floored. Here it is. This thing corrected cholesterol, my blood pressure, and my testosterone. Literally, I've just been amazed by it. My energy levels are through the roof, and it's been life-changing for me. I thought I just was going to live with this for the rest of my life until I came across this system. I mean, it's been fun to watch Yvette just help heal so many people. And I'm one of them, so it's kind of neat to be one of her stories.
It's awesome. I appreciate it. There's a lot actually things happening right here. I just realized that we are actually, I'm going to try and see if I can increase the size of the group. We got a lot of people who are trying to come in. So we're going to just go off the cuff for a second. Lindsay, if you're able to just talk for just a minute, a little bit about the protocol itself. I'm going to see if I can upgrade and switch the account up and then see if we can get some more people into this call. I don't want anybody to miss this. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And actually, I'll just go off of Tillman's wonderful intro on testosterone and the presentation I have prepared and go over that part now. So let me share my screen. Give me just a second because it screws up when I do both my screens. Oops. Can everybody see that, or are they not sharing yet?
We're seeing you.
You're just seeing me. Okay, let me try that one more time. Thank you for filling me in here. Okay. All right. Can you see that now?
We see the slides.
Thanks, Tillman. You're my only audio one that's on here, so that's helpful. Okay, so like Tillman pointed out, testosterone is something that can be greatly impacted by the Unicity system, which is fantastic. And I want to explain the science of why this is possible, as well as, what else it can impact just besides testosterone levels. And so there's a bunch to go along with it. Oops. So when you talk about testosterone, particularly in men, and one day we'll do a talk about testosterone in women, but in men, it is so impactful on mind, body, metabolic health, cardiovascular health, sexual function, all of these things that are so critically important, particularly to men. And, testosterone, like I said, plays a major role. So what do we do about it and what plays a role in it? And so I always like to point out, there's so many things. Like Tillman had said, diet and or use of supplements such as the Unicity protocol can play a major role. Some people have a genetic problem where they might struggle with this. There are other pre-existing conditions that can cause a role. Sometimes stress when it comes to our career, our lifestyle, family stressors, where we live, what we've been exposed to as far as toxins, etc., can all play a role. But what I like to point out to people is, which of these things can you actually control? You can't control most of these, but you can control your diet. And so that's where we're going to focus on today. The prevalence of low testosterone, or the sciencey term for this is hypogonadism, is about 4 to 5 million men in the United States. And this, I always point out, because Tillman, I doubt you were technically low, which is below like a 250, but you were probably what I would call a C student or a D student. So, if you're running at 300 in my book, that's not good. We really want you to run higher to the 800, 900, or even above range. And so this number, this 4 to 5 million number, is people who are technically low. The number is going to be probably triple that if we look at people who are what I would call a D student. So where does this play a role with diet? And so metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, they're all the same thing, do lead to low testosterone, which also plays a role with weight, erectile dysfunction, cardiovascular disease, etc. I really like to show people how these are all interrelated, because you can fix all of them with one intervention, which is why this tool is so powerful. What happens here, and I like to point out, adipose tissue, our fat, is an endocrine organ, which means it is capable of releasing different hormones, different substances that can cause problems. And the one that causes a problem with low testosterone is estrogen. Men are not supposed to have estrogen. I always tell people this is where man boobs come from. When your adipose tissue is producing more estrogen, you will get more tissue in that mammary area. So where does this play? So here's another more complex slide, but I wanted to point out the importance of it. When our fat is above where it should be, and this can be thin people as well. If you're TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside, this plays a role as well. So what happens is that endocrine organ of fat increases, if you can see down in the bottom corner here, if you can see me circling it, it increases our estrogen levels, which turns off that negative feedback loop that involves our pituitary gland. Our pituitary gland shuts down the signals to the testes, and the testes stop making testosterone. The other problem is aromatase, which is elevated with higher adipose tissue, will convert testosterone to estrogen more readily. And so we also have that problem where instead of keeping it as testosterone, we're now converting it to estrogen, causing more and more problems. I like to always point out studies. I always like to back up what I'm saying so people don't just think I'm pulling this out of thin air. So there are lots of studies. Low testosterone has been correlated significantly with obesity, metabolic disease, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, etc. This study went through and showed that people who were able to lose weight, so people like Tillman who are able to trim up, were able to increase their free testosterone levels. So huge. This is a simple way. It's way easier than getting on testosterone. This one also showed the very significant inverse association between testosterone and insulin, meaning higher your insulin, the lower your testosterone, or vice versa, the lower your insulin, the higher your testosterone. And this was completely independent of age. Nope, I don't know.
Recording in progress.
We're getting recorded. Let me get back to my share screen. Oh,
I had to take it really quickly so we can get the recording up and on, and then I'm gonna put you back in there. We just got to let some people in, so I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
I hate to cut you off like that. We had to bring people in here, so I'm gonna bring them in, and then I'm gonna bring you back to host here. So 1 second. Sorry about that.
You're just fine. I'm glad you figured out how to get more people in.
Yeah, amazing when you just add a little bit more to your account on a Zoom. They'll do anything for you. All right. Sweet.
All
Okay.
right.
And then just keep an eye on the people. Just make sure you're admitting it in. We're good. All right. Sorry, guys. Keep going.
Awesome. And I'm almost done with this, so it'll make it a lot easier. So lastly, when we get to it, so you have all of these problems with people with low testosterone, but the other thing I want to point out, see if it'll let me go to the next slide, is what we want to measure. How do you know if you have low testosterone, and what labs need to be measured completely? You want to make sure you get a CBC. There's this thing called erythrocytosis, which is elevated red blood cells. So we need to watch that. Your free and total testosterone, your sex hormone binding globulin, your PSA, your estradiol, and of course, don't forget those insulin resistant labs. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know what disabled that there. So what can you do? Insulin lowering diet for sure. Work on weight loss. This will help increase your testosterone. It will decrease leptin, which actually helps with hunger control. It will help with preventing or reversing prostate problems, including cancer, and it'll improve your overall health. I do like to mention maximize your thyroid, use iodine and a gluten-free diet, maximize your vitamin D, get adequate sleep, exercise. Resistance training is huge for testosterone. And if you're on a statin, be careful because that's where we create our cholesterol, is where we form testosterone from. So I'm going to get out of here just so I can let people in. Anyway, so questions on that, anybody?
So I know it was a little chaotic and she went through it, and half of you, or not half of you, some of you didn't get in until the end of it. So we're happy to go over anything over and above on that, obviously. If you've never been on the protocol, you might have a lot of questions just beyond, just at a wide range. So the whole point of tonight is just to give you a basic understanding of what this is, what this does, and really how it contributes to improving your metabolic health. So we're open to questions. I'm open to anybody who has anything they want to share and ask. We've got two rock stars. I've also got Yvette over here. Yvette is a BSN nurse educator who's helped thousands of people with this system, as well as many of you. So any questions you got? We got a few people in the chat throwing them in there. Now's the time. Fire away. All right. So
Thank you, William, for this is what happens in the real world, right? This is real world. This is a company growing. There's worse problems to have, right? That there's 3 people on and not 300, correct? So I appreciate you, Lindsay. I appreciate you, William. This is life. This is a great place to be. So only thing I will add to this is if you're new to the system and you have questions on how to take it, now is the time to ask, because people quit because they don't know when to drink Unicity and they don't know when to drink balance. This is the time to ask. Does anyone have questions about how to take the system correctly?
Yeah, this is Dave. I just have a quick question real quick.
go for it.
Yeah, so because I've been on the system for like almost 2 or I'm going on my 3rd month. The problem is like I usually walk like 6 or 7 miles a day. And I find that like sometimes I'm doing like 3 to 4 balances a day just because I'm eating a lot more because I'm burning between like, 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day. So I don't know if is it just maybe uptake the protein intake because I know it's eating too much than I need to, but if I'm walking that much, it seems like that's really the only problem I'm having.
Are you doing any fat with your protein? Are you resistance training? Or are you just walking? And Lindsay can tap on this too.
Yeah, just doing like the Unicity in the morning and then just like it seems like I'm eating maybe a little too much, but it seems like because I'm like I said, I'm walking like 6 or 7 miles a day, no resistance training or anything like that.
So I apologize. I missed the first part of the question. Did you say you're just tired and you're having a hard time getting through the walk?
No, so it's because like the 4-4-4, it seems like I'm doing more meals than like the 4-4-4 is because I'm doing the Unicity in the morning and then I'm eating around like 12 and then it seems like I'm doing like sometimes 3 to 4 balances a day just because I'm walking like 6 or 7 miles a day. It just seems like the extra calories are needed with it. But
So again, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that with the original one. So what is your question?
so my question is that still doing that okay? Because I know it's kind of off the path of doing, like the 4, 4-4 or whatever it is. I forget the system that it is. It just seems like it's.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
In my opinion, and everybody else can chime in too, in my opinion, there are lots of different ways to do this system. It really depends on how you feel on it, how your goals are being achieved or not achieved, and how do we need to tweak it based on what your personal situation is. And so there's nothing wrong with doing it the way you're doing it for sure. Yvette, do you have any?
So the system was designed to, when you wake up, your insulin is lowest, right? And you want to keep that fat burning. That's why you want to drink the Unicity when you wake up, hot or cold. I mean, that's your decision. That's one. They're asking you to at least wait 4 hours between the Unicity and your first balance when you break your fast to eat your protein plus a fat is what I recommend. That's what my husband does because protein coupled with a fat is perfection, right? You need fat in your diet. So drink the Unicity, fasted. Drink the balance 5 to 10 minutes before you eat your first meal. Shoot it like a beer in college. If none of y'all shot beer in college, I use 4 to 6 ounces because it's easier to use. Shoot it 5-10 minutes, eat your meal.
Right.
Wait another 4 hours between meals because there's no snacking because we're not 2 years old, right? There's no toddlers on this call. So
Right.
Snacking is not necessary. If you're eating protein plus a fat, you're not hungry. Your satiety comes from that fat and the protein, and then repeat it twice and you're good. We ask that you try to fast at least 12 hours, no snacking, and longer fasts are great, but that has to be decided by yourself. So does that help?
Yvette.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
that helps. Yeah, that helps.
Hey, y'all. Do we have to adjust the system if the women they're asking question according to their menstrual cycle? Should they reduce the intermittent fasting hours during those days or close to those days? How does that affect how they should use the system in those days?
You want me to hit on that one? So there's a
Yes.
wonderful book that you should read called Fast Like a Girl. It's amazing when it comes to how do you incorporate fasting around a cycle. And it really has to do with the fact that estrogen likes ketones. It likes to be fasted, and progesterone likes carbohydrates. And so we would want to tweak the system just slightly during that progesterone phase to help feed that progesterone so it can do what it does, but then really incorporate the fasting for the rest of the cycle. So it's a wonderful book. I don't remember the exact details of when progesterone is. I want to say it's days 10 to 14, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, one more
Okay.
question.
You're right, Lindsay. It is. It's day 10.
For the nurses.
Shannon is
who
a dietitian as well, so I want to introduce her. Excuse me for cutting you off right there, but
Sorry.
she's next.
Okay, so how about like the nurses who are doing the night shifts? How should they take, like they're doing the double shift, like they start from 3 o'clock, they're working till night and then till next morning sometimes. So how would it work for them? Like it's very complicated.
So just reverse it. And this is my thing. And look, there's no cut and dry. He does the system however he wants. He fits it into his workout schedule. As long as you get your fasted hours and drink your Unicity, fine. Whether they're getting up at 7 p.m. for a 7 p.m. shift, they're just going to shift it. Night nurses, the biggest thing is the no snacking, getting enough protein with the fat, and the Unicity and balance 2 times. However you can mix it up in your life, you just make it work for yourself. There's no perfect way, or you're going to get a detention if you don't do it that way. This is literally make it work however you make it work for yourself, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, I was just going to touch on that. This is Shannon, the dietitian. That's why it's called like time restricted eating. So it's just basically intervals where you don't eat and intervals when you do eat. And so you can choose your intervals based on your schedule, just like Yvette said. And always just encourage people, just never go below 12. Just keep at least a 12-hour fasting interval. And if you can do more, great. If you can't, but it doesn't always have to be, 16-8 or 18-6. Some days I fasted 21 days. That's not normal for me, but it just worked out. Other days I
21
fast 14. Yeah. Other days I just fast 14 or 12. It just depends on my day. And if you're still hungry and you've been doing the system, like I think his name David said, like Yvette said, you're likely not getting enough protein and fat, and you could still not be in ketosis, meaning you're not burning your own body fat for fuel. And until you burn your own body fat for fuel, you will likely be hungry. So sometimes it can take longer.
Yeah.
I would recommend adding some resistance training to all that walking, or, because muscle is the key to longevity. Muscle is your metabolism. Muscle is the biggest glucose sponge there is.
It's just funny because I totally agree. I'm just gonna make a joke real quick because I'm 43 and I don't want to wake up feeling like I can't. But no, I appreciate your help too. That helps a lot.
I'm 43 too, though, so I'm not going to take that.
Right.
If you think, then
Can I ask a question?
yes, please.
The Unicity. I know you take it once your fast is over. You drink that before you do your balance. But can you drink Unicity all during the day? I mean, is it specific to just the morning while you're breaking your fast?
No, you can drink it all day. Shannon and Trent get bottles the size of Texas, and they add a lot of water to it, and they sip it all day. And
Okay.
some days in the afternoon, if I'm doing a really long fast, and I'm not encouraging you to do long fast, this is my decision. If I'm doing a 24, 28, 38, 6-hour fast, I'll drink a second one in the end of the day, maybe add a little salt to my water as well, because with insulin going low, salt and water go, right? Oh, that really rhymes. With insulin going low, salt and water go, right?
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Let me add another question to that. I'm a diabetic, so I've got to watch my sugar intake and my salt intake. So I wouldn't add any salt to mine, I don't think.
So
Or would
here's
I?
the biggest fallacy, Marquita, in the world. And
Mhm.
Lindsay, if you'd like to take this, I would love your 2 cents, because they've told us that salt is bad for us, and it's actually, so Lindsay, do you want to take this?
Of course, I would love to. So first of
Please.
all, Marquita, I just want to clarify, when you say you're diabetic, does that mean type 2?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so there is absolutely no proof out there that shows that a high sodium diet is harmful at all to diabetes or even high blood pressure. There are probably about 5% of the entire population that are salt sensitive to high blood or to high sodium. I'm sorry, blood pressure is salt sensitive. Most people are not, and actually do much better on higher sodium. Like Yvette was saying, I very much recommend for people who are struggling through a fast, even if it's just a 16-hour fast, is to incorporate electrolytes, which is a lot of salt.
Okay. Well, sea salt is what I use. Pink Himalaya salt.
And that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Hey guys,
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
A dietitian.
Yes, it's Erin. I'm also a dietitian and a diabetes educator. So,
Okay.
what I was going to tell you, so if you're doing like a fasting type thing anyway, you're probably not going to get much salt in your diet. So adding a little bit to it, like your fresh salt that you're using, would probably be fine. So to kind of go on the medical side and on the natural side, I think that would be okay.
Okay. All right. Good. Great. Thank you so much.
So we had a question from Nicole, and she was asking, if you're on the system for a little bit and your A1C goes up, what should you do, and what does that mean?
You want me to hit that one, Yvette?
Lindsay,
So-
this is your jam. Go.
A1C is not a wonderful marker when it comes to overall general health. The reason behind this is it is dependent on the theory, and I say theory because it is a theory, that your red blood cells will last only 90 days. If you have become healthier by improving your diet and improving your weight and done all these things, your red blood cells will live longer, giving you more opportunity to have glucose bump into it and cause a falsely elevated A1C. So if you're concerned about this, I recommend one of several things. One, check your blood sugar more often with a finger stick or get a CGM. Number two, you can get something called a fructosamine level. It is actually a way to measure a 3-month average blood sugar that is independent of red blood cell life. And so those would be the things that I would watch most closely, rather than feeling discouraged or disgruntled about the fact that A1C went up. Chances are you just have become more healthy.
Let me ask you a question. I hate to just keep jumping in, but why do doctors prescribe insulin when you're insulin resistant?
$1 million question.
Called money.
If it doesn't make sense, it makes dollars. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well,
okay.
the other problem is that they are chasing your blood sugar. They're not chasing your diabetes. They're not chasing your weight. They are only chasing your blood sugar. And for them, when we get our audits, which we get audits from things like Medicare all the time, if we're not chasing that blood sugar, we get a ding. And so I choose to lower blood sugar by lowering carbohydrate intake. Doctors, it's a lot easier for them to just give you a little prescription that they write out than it is to educate you on diet.
I don't get it.
You have to remember, Marquita and Erin, you can follow this up. Shannon, there are algorithms written by the Dietitians Association and the American Diabetes Association that they have to go by. It's an algorithm. If your A1C is here, go here. If your A1C plus your atherosclerotic CVD scores here, go here. It's literally illogical, Jason Fung. Illogical, Jason Fung. Because if you are sitting here with your insulin tapping your cells going, I don't know what to do, then why are we pushing more insulin? Great question. Great question.
Right. Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question. Sorry. Hey, Yvette, this is Heidi. I have a question. I have had a couple of people that have diabetes type 2, but they're really thin. Is it okay that they take the Feel Great system? Will they lose too much weight?
No.
No to the weight, or no, they cannot take the Feel Great system?
I'll tell my mom's story. My mom is 75 years old. She was pushing 140 at 5'2". Very metabolically unstable, 9 stents, ripped from stem to sternum. She's been on the Feel Great system for about 6 months now. She has literally shrunk to her pre-high school weight, essentially. But what's happened was she turned her body into a fat burning machine. She's off every single med, bless you. She has got more energy, but your body's not going to just keep shrinking. She's now metabolically stable, and she gets her protein and her fat in. Because you can be skinny fat and have high A1C and et cetera, et cetera. So it's excellent. Yeah.
So may I ask a question with regards to meals? Just a little bit of clarity on those as to what not to have and what to have.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, Lindsay, you can take it if you'd like. This is your jam.
Well, I like to explain to people when we talk about diets, I really like to go back to whole food. So if you really think about the healthiest way to eat, it is whole food, single ingredient, locally sourced and seasonal. And if you can achieve that, you're going to do really well. So that eliminates processed food. We're getting rid of as much processed food as we can. It does still allow for wonderful things like fruit, potatoes and things like that, but we want you to only eat them when they're seasonal. The problem is over time, we've now made bananas genetically modified, enormous and full of sugar, and you can eat them every single day of the year. We were not designed to do that. So follow that. It's technically a low carbohydrate, low processed food, high protein, high fat way of eating.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. I have somebody that she is pregnant and she can't keep nothing in her stomach. Okay. And I can't tell you guys what is the disease that she has, but at this moment, the baby that she is carrying, the baby have already water on the heart. So I sent some of my packets to a mother that she have to use only the balance, but they are a little bit scared to use it.
So for something like that, I would definitely direct them back to their doctor, just because with water on the heart, there's something else going on besides just nutrition. And so that needs to be medically supervised.
Yeah, but the baby she's still carrying the baby.
Yeah, I would just have mom follow really closely with her doctor, with her OBGYN.
Okay, thank you.
I'd be interested to know, people who are on the call right now, if you're using the system right now, what are some of the things that you've noticed, either from the Unimate, from the balance, overall, what improvements have you had? I know we have a number of stories in here, and I know earlier on we had Tillman share his story, but I know there's a bunch of stories. So just, if you want to, in one sentence, just share how this has totally changed your life and your world. I'll just share real briefly for myself. Like literally it's completely 360 for me and for my wife. So I started this out, I was over 200 pounds. I'm now down to 160. I lost that weight in about 4.5 months, mostly fat, mostly just around my neck, around my belly. And the cool thing is I haven't done anything additional extra to keep that weight off since December. My wife is perimenopausal. She was dealing with some hormonal stuff. She got on the system. I didn't know any better at first. I thought this was all weight loss. Got on the system. She got onto it. Didn't lose any weight for like the first 6-7 weeks, but was able to get her hormones all regulated and under control. And so everybody's got a different story. I'd love to just kind of read through the chat and see what you guys have and what people are saying. It looks like there's Brittany lost her acne medication. She's been on for 23 years, lost 10 pounds. Noel says he's been on Feel Great for 8 months. Why is his blood sugar the highest in the morning? That's a good question. Anybody want to take that?
Sure. It's called dawn phenomenon. So we have a natural rise in cortisol that occurs a couple hours before we normally get up. So usually 4 or 5 in the morning, depends on person. So cortisol goes up, it helps wake you up. Glucose goes up in response to this cortisol because it's giving you fuel to get up and get going and get on with your day. So it's completely normal within reason. I wouldn't expect to see a 150 or a 160 dawn phenomenon, but a 110, 120 is very, very normal.
Sonia no longer has
asked about rhabdo and fasting. I know that's a pretty, great question. So I'd like you to answer that.
So rhabdomyolysis is the actual name of that. Rhabdo occurs when anytime we have muscle damage. And so muscle damage can occur from a crushing injury. It can occur from excessive weight lifting, and that kind of stuff will not occur from only fasting. If you're fasting and doing massive CrossFit workouts, that's a whole different story. But in general, you're not going to get rhabdo from just fasting.
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Hi.
What's your question? Did you have a question, Prasad?
Oh, I do. Hi, everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
I got few people taking Feel Great system, and they complaining about their blood pressure rising. Like they're still on their medication. They've been on it for 3 months, and they told me like, oh, their blood pressure is rising. So what should I do? Yeah, I told them to use the pink salt, as I was guided to, but they still say no. Seems like it's not working. What should I do?
My question would be is what they're doing with their food. Are they making dietary changes in addition to taking these?
They have
Okay.
like lighter lunch, and for dinner they eating early. And I told them maybe you can increase your fasting a little bit longer, and they did. And came back, it's like, no, it's not working for me right now. They're planning to like quit.
Tell them to eat more vegetables. It's Erin, dietitian, diabetes educator again. But tell them to get a lot of vegetables with their protein. See what that does. And also tell them to watch out for pork.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Just tagging along this question. Is it true that caffeine can actually increase your blood pressure just for a little bit, but meaning for a short period of time, but in reality doesn't really increase your blood pressure?
Correct.
If you're taking, I'm sorry. If you're taking your blood pressure medicine and you're on the feel good system, how do you know what is working, the medication or the feel good?
So for my mother, I'll give her story really quick. My mother's blood pressure was pretty high. I mean, stents times 9, right? Obviously, she's a heart patient. A lot of the meds like statins, the lovely statins, my mother refused them because she knows that they were causing her heart issues. So she quit those. That's just another ball of wax. But my personal opinion, my mother decided to go to her doctor and they kept a running score of her blood pressure, and she had taken herself off and the Feel Great system. And I'm not telling people to come off their meds. Please do not say that I told you to come off your meds.
No.
The doctor took her off her meds because it was leveling out and it was staying stable. But that's something that you and your doctor have to talk about.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
keep a baseline and then keep it running out. That's just what my mom did. So there you go.
Well, what I tell people to do is watch your blood pressure every day, watch it at the same time of day every day. Don't overdo it because that creates some white coat syndrome in the house. But check it at the same time. And as it starts to come down and you start to get below 120 systolic, then we start to talk to your doctor about starting to decrease those meds. And so really you should see a decrease in your blood pressure overall by adding the system to your blood pressure medication.
Okay. I have edema. I'm sorry, I'm hogging up the whole talk time, but I also have edema. So they prescribed the water pill, which is supposed to help with my high blood pressure, along with, I'm gonna tell you, I'm taking losartan, which I hate. I don't like taking any medication. So, and I've taken myself off of it, sort of. But then I was told, you're supposed to follow what your doctor prescribes. So if I'm doing it every other day, that's not what the doctor prescribed. I really want to come off all of my medication, but I'm afraid.
If you stay consistent, Marquita, and you do the low processed carbs and sugars, and again, like we talked about, when insulin is low, water and salt go, right? So all that inflammation that's causing the hypertension and the vasoconstriction, right? That will just all level out because you're doing the polypharmacy. And so what's causing what? I would literally keep a baseline of everything, follow the system consistently. And really watch your food intake. So you know, it's that you're on the algorithm. You are the water pill, the sugar pill, the heart pill, and the pill. That's basically right. That's the algorithm.
Right.
So I want to type up real quick too. Just sorry, I put it in the chat. For all of you who maybe don't know, I'm a PA and I have telemedicine rights pretty much nationwide. And so if anybody wants some medical help, you can go to the website I posted there, and I'm happy to help people out where I'm so familiar with the system and everything else. So.
Oh, okay, great. It's excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Anila.
Can you hear me?
So I've been on the system for a couple of months now. I started my weight loss journey in February, March. I started with phentermine as well. So I've been trying to wean off of it. I do take my Unicity in the morning. But once I do get to work, I have my coffee. No sugar, just oat milk.
Did you say oat milk?
Yeah, oat milk.
Yeah,
And
oat
get rid
milk
of
is
that.
just straight carbs. See, that's just
Bad.
straight marketing. Just like anything that says keto on the label, that's
Uh-huh.
just straight If you think that ketos are just ketones, they just took a
Mhm.
cute little word and they sold it to everyone a bag of goods. Look at like Lindsay said, little ingredients. If you look at keto food, it looks like War and Peace, right? So if your label looks like a War and Peace novel, skip it. Keto is marketing. Ketones are fuel. And almond milk and all those milks that you get at your coffee house that cost $3, they're just straight carbs.
Yeah, I really recommend to just do a little heavy cream in your coffee instead.
Seriously?
Oh.
Then the almond and oat milk?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah,
Okay,
save
so
your money.
Can I
I
just
go
say
my,
something?
that's my Starbucks order, 3 shots of espresso with oat milk.
Yeah, now switch it over to whipping cream and then look at your MyFitnessPal and check out the carb
Uh-huh.
chain. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm.
And then you also mentioned protein and fats. Which fats are you talking about when we break fast? What are some examples of the fats?
Animal fats. Lindsay can fix.
Say fats that you can find in nature. So animal fats, coconut, olive, avocado are the big ones.
Mhm. So I've also changed how I break my fast as far as I'll have my greens first, then my protein, and then my carb. So I have lost 35 pounds in the past couple of months. The first 3 months I did take phentermine on a regular. I did stop in between. Before, when I used to stop the dieting and stuff, I would gain the weight back really quickly. But in this, I wasn't losing and I wasn't gaining. I was at a steady weight, even off the phentermine with the Unicity.
Yep. Do your best to get off the phentermine. It is a severe stimulant and can cause a lot of havoc on the cardiovascular system. So keep working on it.
And I also do work in pharmacy, so there's Ozempic and everything. I dispense it on the daily, and I can't tell you, the future is gonna be scary for these people.
Yes, it is.
So the doctor that I was going to, my first PA would keep increasing my dose. She was fine with it. I started off with the 15 to 30 to 37. So recently she just left the practice and I got the new PA, and the new PA was like, we don't recommend this for a long period of time. So I was like, are you serious? He goes, yeah. I was like, I have patients that take it 3 months at a time. They're on it consistently. And so hopefully.
Thank you for your story. That's a really good story. Thank you for sharing.
Sorry to interrupt it. So phentermine over time it doesn't just affect your cardiovascular, it can affect your cerebrovascular system. And you can get a vasculitis from chronic use of phentermine. And I had a patient early in my practice that had a subarachnoid hemorrhage and died from complications from phentermine. Now, I'll never forget that lady. She was 34 years old and left 2 children behind. So it's definitely one that you want.
What are side effects that I should look out for?
It would be headaches. It would be the first thing you'd notice. So, but you could even have stroke-like symptoms like facial numbness, or facial weakness, or a momentary disorientation. But the only reason I would ever see the use of phentermine is to build self-efficacy as you're trying to change your eating habits, to give you a little confidence, because it will definitely induce a weight loss. But it's not something you want to use chronically. It's just something to get you to sort of turbocharge your beginning, so you see a little early results and then you get off of it. And so.
Okay, so I think I've gotten to that point, so I should stop.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Eric is a neurosurgeon. Eric is a neurosurgeon, if anyone doesn't know.
So I started again last week, and I have been getting headaches, and I thought it was because of work stress and BP, all of that. So okay.
Yeah.
Eric, does it damage the endothelium cell?
It can. In fact, over the period of more than a year, you can begin to see streaking in the white matter of the brain. And so, it's a fairly harsh drug, in my opinion. I would stay away from it. It's speed, why would you want to take that chronically, really? It will inflame your vessels in the end.
Thank you.
What is this that you're talking about? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
She was taking phentermine. So it's a stimulant.
Yeah, we do
That's
not,
it.
any of us do not advocate for phentermine, in case someone just popped in the call.
Yeah.
I just don't want someone to get on here and say we're talking about phentermine. He's just telling the side effects, what he's seen as a neurosurgeon with phentermine. So thank you for that.
If there's any other questions, we'll take them. I just want to throw in here real quick. I want to thank Yvette and Lindsay for everything. We got about 10 more minutes. If anybody needs some questions, this is really, really powerful. The takeaway that I've been getting for myself on the system that I tell everybody who has come through is if you're having issues with whatever, like losing weight or make sure numbers are good, the system is incredibly forgiving. The system will allow you to do things you really shouldn't be doing as much of. You can eat a little more carbs than you probably should. So if you're having issues, the way to fix that is to focus on the diet and focus on really eating better, right? Focusing on the good vegetables, focusing on the stuff we're supposed to be eating, right? And my problem when I first got onto this was that I started losing the weight. I started having the energy. Everything was up. And then I got very lackadaisical and very easy going with it. I thought, oh man, this is great because I can do anything. And so we still have to pay attention to ourselves. This is not a system where you get on this and you sit around and drink Dr. Pepper and eat bonbons all day. That's not, you still need to put in, in to take care of your body. So a lot of the questions that are coming through, sounds like the way to fix these things is pay attention to your diet. So Sergio, go ahead, hop in.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
I will try. I hope you understand me. I have started for taking the system since June 29th, and I already lose 14 pounds. I started with 220, and this morning I had 214. So I'm so very, very happy for the results. It's not only the way, it's like how I'm feeling my inside, the way now I have like more flexibility and my knee, my feet, everything. And I can feel my body more light and lighter. But now I just started the second case of the feel great. And I think I'm doing very well. But I just get the cleanse system. So I want to start. Do you recommend to me like I can do it at the same time, the both, take the Unimate in the morning and also the balance, and also I have the cleanse. Is okay to do it because I want to have the results like more like a fast. I mean, nothing is fast, but like I'm saying, it's like it's okay. Like I can do the cleanse too. So that's my question. If I can do it.
Do you guys need translation? I
No,
can help translate.
So Lindsay, Yvette, so he's asking, go ahead.
What was his question? I didn't understand.
So yeah, go ahead. Can you translate real quick the question?
Yeah. So do you want to say it in English real quick, in Spanish, and I'll translate for you? Is that what you speak?
Okay, claro que sí. He estado usando el sistema del Unimate y también el Balance desde el 29 de junio hasta la fecha. Ha funcionado muy bien, pero también quiero usar el Cleanse. O sea, ya lo tengo.
Oh, okay.
Quiero preguntar si lo puedo usar a la misma vez.
Sí puedes. Pero déjame dejarlos que ellos respondan, ¿sí? Okay,
Sí.
So his question is basically, can he use the Feel Great system and the cleanse? And I told him he can, but definitely I want to hear what you guys have to say.
I know several people that have done the cleanse, but I don't think they did the balance at the same time. That's not the same thing. I in other words, I think they did the cleanse and put the balance away and then brought balance back. And Michelle Radcliffe was one, I think, that did that. If she's on the call, she can say something about that if she's on the call. But
Okay.
I haven't done the cleanse.
Okay. Do you need translation, my friend? ¿Necesito que lo traduzca?
Sí, por favor.
Sí, bueno,
I'm
lo que yo
here.
estoy
I'm here, and
diciendo-
I have done the cleanse.
Did you do the cleanse with the balance together, or did you put the balance on the side for a little bit?
No, I did. I actually reached out to Rav and I asked him if I did need to take the balance, and he said yes, because the balance is still for your gut health. So do take the balance while you're doing the cleanse.
Okay. And how did you do it? Like, can you tell us like what is the process? that you did?
For the balance or for the cleanse?
I mean, the cleanse and the balance. Like, how would a day look like if you're taking both the cleanse and the balance?
So I took the cleanse first thing in the morning per the directions. And then just prior to, if I'm not mistaken, when I started the cleanse, I actually was doing a fast as well. So for the first couple of days of the cleanse, I did not take any of the balance because the balance does break your fast. However, after I did finish, I just took my balance just prior to eating whatever it was that I was eating, just like you normally would.
Now, when would you take the fiber and the tea or the aloe capsule?
First thing in the morning.
In the evening is when you do the aloe, and the tea is at night. So you wake up and you take the capsules per the directions, and then you have the balance. You do your balance to break your fast with lunch, and then you have another fiber, the cleanse fiber, the life fiber. And what I did was I just took those together. So I did my balance, and I took, ate my meal, and I did my life fiber with that one. And then in the evening, you do the tea and it's either the tea or the aloe capsules. You can do a second serving of life fiber during the day. And I just did that with my second meal too. And you want to stay on the Feel Great system while you're doing the cleanse, because the cleanse is a 30-day cleanse. And so you don't want to go off of the Feel Great system for 30 days, right? When you're in the middle of getting results and getting momentum. So you combine the two together. And I saw phenomenal results doing the cleanse. I actually repeated it again 6 months later, because what it does is it just kind of helped charge. I became more productive in my fat loss. And then I just realized how much you have in your gut to clean out. Like I don't know how much I want to say about this, but you're just like, I can't believe that I can fill up a toilet every day for 2 weeks. So you're like, where is this? I don't understand where this food is coming from, because I wasn't consuming more food. I was consuming less food, but just complete clean out. And not,
Well,
I mean,
if
I
you
never
think
had
about when you go get a
clean out.
colonoscopy, I've been many rooms for people that got a colonoscopy. There are many places to hide your food. So what the doctor will say is, we know when you're lying. Yes, I did the cleanse. No, you didn't. So yeah, you can, it is a snake that it's amazing where you can hide food.
Yeah. So what I understand is the life fiber is actually, per my understanding, I think it's more like the insoluble. So what it does is kind of helps cleanse your digestive system, versus the balance is actually fixing it. That's what I understand.
And it has that life fiber has 28 or 30 ingredients to it. So it has a lot of different things like marshmallow root, and kind of gets at some of the parasites and some of the things that you have in your gut too, and gets a lot of those things moving on their way out.
I want to be very clear for everybody that this is, so the cleanse, everybody's, because there's some comments coming in, the cleanse is a completely different tool. Okay. So the Feel Great system is two things. It's the balanced fiber. Okay. And then it's the Unicity. That's what Feel Great is. And Unicity is an amazing company. It's been around for 100 years. And the cleanse is another product that they're talking about separate to Feel Great. So it's not, you don't have to do the cleanse. It's amazing, but it does not come with it's a totally separate thing. So I'll make sure it's very, very clear in this. And if we can, I mean, we've got a few minutes left. I'm open to keep talking about it. If anybody has questions specifically about Feel Great for the purpose of the call.
For the person that needs the translation, I'm going to write my phone number so I can give you the translation.
Awesome.
I did have one really quick question about the Unicity.
Yes. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so what the... Oh, God. Go ahead,
brother.
Okay. Yeah, real quick, because I take Lexapro for the anxiety stuff, which is actually, I'm trying to get off of that. My only worry is when I've been taking the Unicity, that does increase the anxiety a little bit. I'm only on 5 milligrams of it. So I don't know if anybody's had any problems with I mean, I drink decaf coffee, easily, but that's kind of the only problem with the Unicity.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Sorry, the cat was muted. Caffeine content in the Unicity is actually quite minimal. It's 100 to 120. So it's the equivalent of a tiny piece of Dove chocolate. I mean, the caffeine is pretty small in that. I would highly recommend Chris Palmer's book called Brain Energy. It will blow your mind when it comes to reversing or improving mental health issues with diet.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, my question here. I have a few people, a few persons who have told me that on the system, they find it difficult to pull, or their pull is getting very hard. That's on the one hand. Then the second question is it okay for breastfeeding moms to be on the system? Those are two questions I need clarifications.
Yes, it's fine for breastfeeding moms, totally fine. And especially if they're trying to get rid of some of that baby weight, it will help some more. When it comes to the constipation or solid stool, they drink more water. Definitely increase water intake. If still having a problem, then just do a half a packet of the balance per meal instead of the full packet for a little while until that resolves. I also recommend to add magnesium glycinate a lot of times to people who follow a low carb diet, just because it can help with bowel regulation, and that's at 100 to 200 milligrams a day.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, we got just a couple more minutes. Go ahead, fire away.
I was just going to thank everybody for your patience through our real life. This is real life. The company is amazing.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
I've been on the system only a month now, and I'm a 57-year-old male, and I want to know how integral is the mate to the system, because I love the balance, and that's been great so far. But I'm not doing the mate every single day, and almost every day. And I like it. I don't dislike it, but I just really love coffee.
Well, if this is what I tell my coffee drinkers, if you would just do the mate in the morning when you first rise, even if you have to drink it fast and then your coffee later, the benefits, it's 10 cups of coffee in one Unicity is the first thing. Increases insulin sensitivity, right? Helps with brain fog and mood and fat burning. There's so much in that powerful drink. And then I do my coffee. Like if there's some days I'm cranky bugs and I want a coffee, I might do my Unicity, I sip it for a little while, and then I might have a cup of coffee. So I highly recommend it. Yes, and curbs your appetite, increases fasting. Anything else y'all want to add?
Yeah, well, that hasn't been a problem for me because I've been intermittent fasting for a long time now. I was doing one meal a day for a long time. Now I'm back to 2 meals a day. But I find sometimes when I drink the balance before my second meal, I can't eat my second meal. I'm like not hungry anymore. That's normal, I guess, right?
Yeah, because it's not fiber, it's food, minerals, vitamins, and plants, right? People think it's just a Metamucil, the big M. It's not, it's actually food. And I always challenge people, try to out eat balance. You can't. So get your proteins and your fats in, and then at least get those in. Yes, Lindsay? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
Yeah,
I have the exact same problem. It just is so filling to me. So, it gets better over time as long as you're not hypocaloric chronically, meaning week after week, day after day. It's not a big deal to skip that extra meal.
Awesome, guys.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to cut us off right there. We're right at the hour. I want to respect everybody's time. Yvette and Lindsay are incredibly awesome people, very busy schedules and lives, but I do appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being patient with us. Like Yvette was saying, this is the real world. Technology issues happen. And so what? This is the best company on the planet. We are going to change 1 million lives. Absolutely amazing people. You guys are all awesome. Have a great night, and we'll see you later. Thanks so much, everybody.